The coffee cup was placed 3 inches to the left of where it should have been. Nobody else noticed. Not the diplomat walking past. Not the security team scanning the crowd. Not the Secret Service agents with their earpieces and trained eyes. But Corporal Maya Santos noticed. She'd been standing at the embassy gate for 8 hours in the Kabul heat, watching thousands of faces pass through security checkpoints. Most guards rotated every 2 hours to stay sharp. Maya never asked for rotation. She just watched, silent, focused, cataloging every detail. The other guards thought she was strange. Why doesn't she talk? What's she staring at? It's just gate duty, relax. But Maya wasn't just watching people. She was watching patterns. And that coffee cup placed on the wrong side of the security barrier by a vendor who'd worked the same spot for 3 months was a pattern break. Her hand moved to her radio. No panic, no hesitation, just quiet certainty, control. Gate 7. I need eyes on the vendor at position Delta 3. Something's wrong. 30 seconds later, they found the explosive device hidden in his cart. Enough C4 to level the entire checkpoint and kill everyone within 50 meters. The diplomat Maya had been watching, Ambassador Catherine Wells, target of a planned assassination, along with 30 other people who would have died if one silent guard hadn't noticed a coffee cup 3 inches out of place. Subscribe so you never miss these stories. Tell us in the comments, have you ever noticed something everyone else missed? Maya Santos had always been quiet, not shy, just observant. The kind of person who listened more than she spoke, who saw more than she said. In basic training, drill sergeants had praised her attention to detail, but criticized her lack of command presence. You need to be louder, Santos. Soldiers follow voices, not silence. But Maya didn't want to lead through volume. She wanted to lead through vigilance. When she'd been assigned to embassy security in Kabul, the other guards had expected her to wash out. Embassy duty required constant alertness, the ability to spot threats in crowds of hundreds, to read body language and detect anomalies in real time. Most guards burned out after a few months. The mental exhaustion of staying alert for 8-hour shifts wore them down. Maya thrived. While others complained about the boredom, she studied faces, memorized routines, tracked patterns. The tea vendor who arrived at 0800, the school children who walked past at 1400, the delivery trucks that came Tuesdays and Fridays. She created mental maps of normal, and when anything deviated from normal even by inches she noticed. The other guards thought she was obsessive. Santos, you don't have to memorize every person who walks past. It's not a test. Just check IDs and move them through. But to Maya, it was always a test. Every shift, every face, every moment. Because she'd learned early in her deployment that complacency killed. The attack you didn't see coming was the one that succeeded. The threat you dismissed as insignificant was the one that detonated. So Maya never dismissed anything. She cataloged everything. The guards who rotated in and out barely knew her name. She didn't join them for meals, didn't participate in the joking and small talk that filled the downtime between shifts. What's her deal? Private Jennings had asked once. She's weird, Sergeant Collins had replied. Doesn't talk, just stares. They didn't understand that Maya wasn't being antisocial. She was working. Even during breaks, her mind was reviewing the day's observations, filing away details, updating her internal database of what normal looked like. Because when the abnormal appeared, she needed to recognize it instantly. And on a scorching Tuesday morning in August, that preparation saved 30 lives. The day started like any other. Maya took her position at Gate 7 at 0600 hours. The morning crowd was predictable. Local staff arriving for work, contractors delivering supplies, the occasional diplomat vehicle requiring escort. By 1000 hours, she processed over 100 people, every face scanned, every bag checked, every vehicle inspected. At 10:15, the coffee vendor arrived. Rashid, age 42, had worked the security perimeter for 3 months, always set up at the same spot, 15 meters from the gate, always placed his coffee urn on the right side of his cart, always greeted the guards in broken English with the same phrase, "Good coffee today, yes?" But today, Rashid placed the coffee urn on the left side of his cart, 3 inches, maybe less, a detail so small that anyone else would have missed it or dismissed it as meaningless. Maya's eyes locked onto the cart. Her mind processed the deviation in microseconds. Left side placement meant different weight distribution, different access angles, different reach patterns for serving customers. Why would someone change a 3-month routine? Her gaze shifted to Rashid's hands, slight tremor, sweat on his forehead despite the morning still. Being relatively cool, his eyes scanning the crowd not for customers, but for exits. Body language, stressed off fear, or anticipation. Maya's hand moved to her radio, but she kept her voice calm. Training had taught her that panic spreads faster than fire. The moment security overreacts, crowds stampede, and real threats escape in the chaos. Control, Gate 7. Request supervisor to position Delta 3. Routine inspection. Copy, Gate 7. Sending Sergeant Morrison. Rashid had turned away from the cart, fumbling with something in his pocket. His movements were jerky, unlike the smooth efficiency he'd shown every other day. Maya's eyes dropped to the cart. The coffee urn was positioned to block visual access to the lower shelf. The shelf that yesterday had held cups and sugar packets. Today, there was a cloth draped over it, new, not part of his usual setup. Morrison arrived 60 seconds later. What have we got? Santos, vendor at Delta 3. Pattern deviation, possible concealment. Maya's voice was quiet, but precise. Lower shelf covered. Left side urn placement unusual for his serving routine. Subject showing stress indicators. Morrison studied the vendor, then the cart. Years of experience had taught him to trust his people's instincts, especially Santos, who'd flagged 3 separate smuggling attempts in her first month. EOD sweep, recommend. Morrison keyed his radio. Control. This is Morrison. Need EOD team to Delta 3. Suspicious cart. Clear the perimeter. Quiet protocol. The bomb techs arrived in plain clothes, approached as routine inspectors. Rashid's eyes widened. He started backing away. That's when Maya moved. Not running, not shouting, just a smooth, practiced interception that put her between Rashid and the crowd. Sir. Routine inspection. Please remain still. I need to go. My wife. Sir. Remain still. Her voice was calm. Her hand was on her sidearm. Not threatening, just ready. Rashid looked at her, and something in his eyes broke. Fear. Resignation. They have my daughter. They said if I don't stay still, we'll help her. The EOD tech knelt beside the cart, lifted the cloth, and went rigid. His voice came over the radio. Clipped and professional. Confirmed IED. Commercial C4. Cell phone trigger. Multiple secondaries. This is a mass casualty device. The perimeter cleared in 90 seconds. Controlled. Professional. No panic because Maya's quiet detection had given them time. The bomb was disarmed 20 minutes later. Rashid was taken into custody not as a terrorist, but as a victim whose daughter had been kidnapped by insurgents and used as leverage. They found her that afternoon, alive, safe, and they found the target list. Ambassador Catherine Wells, 3 other high-value diplomats, 30 staff members who would have been collateral damage, all alive because one guard noticed a coffee cup 3 inches out of place. The official report landed on Colonel David Mercer's desk 2 days later. He read it 3 times. Each time shaking his head in quiet disbelief. This Santos, he said to his aide, the one who caught this. What's her record? Corporal Maya Santos, sir, embassy security. 6 months in theater. Prior commendations for attention to detail. Flagged multiple smuggling attempts. No disciplinary issues. No complaints. Social record. Keeps to herself, sir. Other guards describe her as quiet. Some say antisocial. Mercer looked up. Antisocial or focused. Sir, there's a difference. He stood. Get her to my office. Now. Maya arrived 20 minutes later, still in her uniform from the morning shift. She stood at attention, expression neutral. At ease. Corporal. Mercer gestured to a chair. Sit. She sat. You stopped a mass casualty attack by noticing the coffee cup. It wasn't just the cup, sir. Multiple indicators. I read the report. Weight distribution. Behavioral analysis. Pattern recognition. He leaned forward. How long have you been doing this? Doing what, sir? Memorizing every detail of your post. Every routine. Every person. Since day one, sir. It's my job. No, Corporal. Your job is to check IDs and maintain perimeter security. What you did goes beyond that. He pulled out another file. I've reviewed your record. 3 smuggling attempts stopped. 2 unauthorized access breaches detected. 1 potential insider threat flagged before they could act. And now this. Maya said nothing. Just waited. The other guards say you don't talk to them. I focus on the work, sir. They think you're strange. I'm aware, sir. Mercer studied her. Do you know what the Secret Service calls people like you? People who see what others miss? Who remember details nobody else thinks matter? No, sir. They call them naturals. The ones who don't need years of training because their brains are already wired to detect threats. He slid a folder across the desk. I'm recommending you for specialized training, protective intelligence, threat assessment, the kind of work that requires exactly what you've been doing, watching everything, saying nothing until it matters. Maya looked at the folder, but didn't touch it. Sir, I'm just doing my job. No, Corporal, you're doing everyone's job. Better than people twice your age with twice your experience. He stood. Report to the security director Monday morning. You're being reassigned. Sir, that's not a request. It's an order. Dismissed. The new assignment came with a new team. Intelligence analysts, behavioral specialists, threat assessment coordinators, people who did exactly what Maya had been doing naturally, watching patterns and detecting deviations. For the first time since joining the military, Maya felt like she belonged. You're the one who caught the coffee cup bomber, one analyst said during her first briefing. His name was Dr. Aaron Lim, civilian contractor, former FBI. I caught a pattern deviation, Maya corrected quietly. Same thing. Lim smiled. Most people don't see the world the way you do. They look without observing. You observe without missing. Over the next 3 months, Maya worked threat assessments for every high-value target in the region. She reviewed surveillance footage, analyzed behavior patterns, flagged potential threats. Before they materialized, she stopped to more attacks. One vehicle-borne IED that would have hit a convoy. One insider threat from a contracted interpreter who'd been compromised by enemy forces. Both times, it was small details. A parking spot chosen for optimal blast angle. A phone call made at an unusual time. Details everyone else missed. How do you do it? Lim asked her one evening after a particularly long briefing. Do what? See things. Most people's brains filter out 90% of what they observe. Keeps them from being overwhelmed. But you don't filter. You see everything. Maya thought about it. I just assume everything matters until it doesn't. That's exhausting. It's necessary. Lim nodded slowly. You're going to save a lot of lives, Santos, more than you already have. He was right. 2 years later, Maya Santos stood in a very different place. Not a gate in Kabul. Not a security checkpoint in a war zone. The White House, East Wing. Presidential protection detail. She wore a suit now instead of a uniform. An earpiece instead of a helmet. But her job was the same. Watch everything. Miss nothing. The other agents on the detail were loud, confident, former operators with decades of experience. Maya was still quiet, still observant, still the one nobody really talked to. But when the threat came, a credible plot against the president during a public event, it was Maya. Who caught it? A photographer with credentials, press pass verified, background check cleared. Everything looked normal, except his camera lens was pointed at the ground during the motorcade arrival. Every other photographer had their lens up, ready. This one didn't, because he wasn't there to take pictures. He was there to detonate a device hidden in the camera body. Maya's quiet voice on the radio. Eyes on photographer, Section 3, behavioral anomaly, recommend intercept. They stopped him 20 feet from the president. Disarmed the device, prevented an assassination. The president asked to meet her afterward. You saved my life, Agent Santos. Maya stood at attention. I observed a deviation from expected behavior. Ma'am, just doing my job. The president smiled. Colonel Mercer told me about you, the coffee cup, the pattern recognition. He said you see things nobody else does. I just pay attention, ma'am. No. The president said quietly, you do more than that. You care enough to notice, and that makes all the difference. True vigilance isn't loud. It's quiet, patient, observant. Sometimes the person nobody talks to is the one seeing everything that matters. The next time you meet someone who seems distant or quiet, remember, they might be the only one actually paying attention. The silent guardian. The one who notices the coffee cup 3 inches out of place. The one who saves lives by seeing what everyone else misses. Subscribe so you never miss these stories of quiet heroes. Tell us in the comments what small detail changed everything for you. Sometimes the most important voices are the ones that barely whisper.